So happy Monday. There's more stuff this time, and especially Marcel and Curvin, and as we go over the shopping list today, you might want to just focus on I will mention stuff that's not, that you don't have to get, right? You can learn how to pickle something without having every single, teaspoon of coriander seed or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so let's start there by going over. Well, I guess we'll start with going over the newsletter. If it'll come up here. Here we go. And we'll just go over this fairly quickly. All right, you guys see what's going on? Reminder to hybrid classes, that's not us. Uniform policy reminder. When we get back on campus, this is probably going to be one of those kind of growing pains things. We have to really focus on making sure that the uniform standard is upheld. Check your Escoffier email daily. There is a Serve Safe makeup happening Saturday, May 8th, which is what, a week from this Saturday. If you want to make up Serve Safe. Portal issues, again, that number is on every portal page. Tutoring, this should be on the dashboard of the portal as well. Talk campus. I think we've gone over all these slides a number of times. Let's look at 2021 holiday calendar. So no school on the last Friday of this block. So that means we'll have our final practical on Thursday of that week. And you guys will have a 3-day weekend. Come back to it on Monday. Excuse me. National Pretzel Day, Prime Rib Day. That's nice. Blueberry Pie Day. You know you guys can do something about that. Shrimp Scampi Day. And Raisin Day. What is today? 26th. So it's Pretzel Day. Buy somebody you love a pretzel. Hulu $1.99 a month. Any change of address or phone number, use this form. Local resources. Again, this is all stuff you guys have seen, so let me know if you want me to stop or slow down. COVID guidelines, still a thing, still doing it. I'm fully vaxxed now, that's nice. Let's see. Here's I don't know that we've seen this one yet. City of Austin Public Health currently providing the Moderna vaccine. If you're 18 or older, you must have an account, which you can get at covid19.austintexas.gov. There's an appointment scheduling system. This is, I think, who was it that did a really good job of this? Is like New Mexico, where you just call up and get on a list, and then they send you back a here's your here's your appointment time, and so you didn't have to check 9 million different sites. And Derek is still happening. Suerte. Amy's Roots, Casper. Great American Cookies. Quote of the week. Until you spread your wings, you'll have no idea how or if you can fly. It's true. All those little caterpillary, inchwormy things that were hanging down recently, those are all turning to caterpillars. So there's going to be a lot of them this year. Here's a question for the mind readers out there. I get it. No question. You should know it. All right, here's trivia. What shape is the pasta Chioli? Bow tie shell, hollow tubes, twists, triangle. Let's see, who's guessing? 3 ? Hollow tubes. I'm going to go with shell, but only because it kind of sounds like the root word for ear. Let's see. Boom, shells, yeah. But those aren't shells, are they? Am I wrong? Anyway, short pasta similar in shape to the elbow noodles. They feature a great texture and are hollow with one end pinching shut. Okay. Making them look snail-like, as the name Chiocchioli translates to. Okay, perfect for holding sauces. All right, we made it through another newsletter. How about that? Okay, guys. Any cooking this weekend? Any food experiences this weekend?
Not really on my end. I just kind of had a relaxing weekend.
No, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Okay, let's start taking a look at course overview. Nothing too special, okay. We went to a play on Saturday night. That was kind of cool. And in Killeen. I think we got all the videos up for sure for both weeks. Yep. Let's look at the week 4 shopping list. That's, decidedly longer than last week. A couple of pounds of ground pork. Salmon fillet. It says skin on for those of you guys is it Marcel and Curvin? You don't necessarily have to get it with skin on. It will still cure without skin. And I think the recipe says to score the skin. You don't have to do that either if you do get one with skin on. It's marginally helpful when you go to slice it. Okay. But if all you can find is like a frozen or a frozen like portion, that will work. Let's see, leg quarters. That's just, it says half a leg quarter. I think, one leg and one thigh, or two thighs, or if you're at home and you have some chicken breasts, that will work too. If you are home and you have a whole chicken and you roast it and just use part of it for the chicken salad, that will work. You could use the rest for dinner. That's no problem. Just enough chicken to make chicken salad out of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, 4 ounces of bacon. I think that's it's for a little garnish for the eggs on Friday. 4 slices is plenty. You don't need any more than that. Now, Derry, this asks for a whole gallon of milk. Let's put a pin in that and just remember that number. I think it's a little high. You can do we do make cheese and we need quite a bit of milk, but you don't need a whole, you don't necessarily need a whole gallon. It would make a good amount of cheese. You could do it with a half a gallon. Whole eggs, 2.5 dozen. That's close. We do eggs. What do you call it? Deviled eggs this week. And then butter, 1.5 pounds. Again, that's probably a little bit too much, but let's hold on and see. Okay. Cucumbers. This says 2 pounds of pickling cucumbers. You don't necessarily need 2 pounds. I've done this class many times before to illustrate what you need to learn. You can do it with 1 English cucumber. The ones that are long and covered in plastic, and they usually have them at HEB. And the reason we use English cucumbers or pickling cucumbers is that they don't have that waxy outer coating. That being said, I've made cucumbers out of the ones with the waxy outer coating, and it works. So I don't recommend it just because it's it's wax, it's edible wax. It's, people eat the outside. But if you can get your hands on a single English cucumber, you should be able to make what you need to out of that. Three heads of garlic cloves. I've never used 3 heads of garlic in this class. I think a head of garlic is plenty. 3 whole onions. Again, I don't think you need that many onions. Ginger. This is just a little piece of a knob of ginger will be fine. Mixed berries. It's a good idea to get the mix frozen. We do make a whatchamacallit this week. A mixed berry jam. My family likes just blueberry jam, so you can do it with that. You can do a single berry if you like. Frozen is good. It's an easy way to handle this. What else? So the tarragon, for those of you guys buying at home, it's a nice to have. It's not It's not 100% necessary. The lemons, again, in this class with a lot of lemons, I don't think we need 6. Scallions. If you need to substitute onions at home, if you don't want to buy that extra, that's fine. I do like, I think they're helpful. They're good for garnish and stuff. So if you can find a use for them, but definitely no more than 1 bunch. A single cucumber. So like I said earlier, I think you can just do 1 cucumber. You don't need to have, you can do 1 English cucumber or maybe 2 regular cucumbers. A couple of stalks of celery, some parsley, cherry tomatoes is just for the pasta salad. So if you've got regular tomatoes at home, or any kind of tomatoes, or really anything, or red bell pepper, anything to just sort of then you don't. Again, the cherry tomatoes are kind of a garnish for the pasta salad. Same with the red pepper. Same with the red onion. So it's a lot of garnish for a fairly small amount of pasta. All right, so we do need some vinegar. See, there's a lot of these sort of just tiny amounts of ingredients. Apple cider, we need that for pickling. Of course, black pepper. Dill seed is helpful if you got it. Dill seed. It's for the dill pickles. Mustard seed, granulated sugar. Pectin you have to have. That's a have thing. You usually can find the pectin in the grocery store next to the canning jars. So look where the ball jars are in a larger store. When I say ball jars, do you guys know what I'm talking about? The kind of jars that have, it's a glass jar with a lid and then a ring that screws around the top. That's a ball jar or a mason jar. Okay, so corn syrup, that's an invert sugar for the for the what do you call it? The mixed berry jam. And it is helpful. You could probably use honey or any kind of invert syrup or sugar. Any liquid sugar. Okay. Dried dill, dried sage. So the sage is you got to have some kind of sage for the breakfast sausage. Turmeric is for the bread and butter pickles, and you need it if you want that kind of classic yellow, but that's really all it does. It's not even that much flavor. Celery seeds, kosher salt. Fennel seeds is for the Italian sausage, so that's a must-have. Ground white pepper, you don't need it. Coriander seeds, again, these are for the sausage flavoring. If you have them, it's great. If not, you can make a sausage without them. Like I say, I think you need the fennel seed and I think you need the dried sage. Those are the key flavors for the 2 sausages. Dried sage or fresh sage would work too. The sage is for the breakfast sausage and the fennel seed is for the Italian sausage. And as long as you had, I think if you had those 2 plus granulated garlic, black pepper, and salt, you could make a really flavorful full sausage and it would work. But if you do have some of these other things, they do make it a little bit more flavorful. Dry milk powder, sweet paprika, the white vinegar. Here's something, orzo pasta. We've always this has always been an orzo pasta salad. It's just it's a shape that's a little rice shape of pasta, these tiny little pieces. And it's fine, but it's not necessary. You can definitely do this with a pasta salad with elbow macaroni, or just even take spaghetti and break it up into smaller pieces. Pasta salad, you could use it. You could use chiocchioli or whatever you'd like. Capers, just get the smallest jar you can find. Red wine vinegar, balsamic vinegar. You know, you can do, if you just have apple cider vinegar, that works. Cayenne pepper, mustard powder, honey. Okay. When you get down there in the bottom, I think that's a recipe for vinaigrette. So it's a nice to have, but not a have to have thing. It looks like there should be some kind of oil on here, but whatever oil you have at home. Oh, there it is, olive oil. All right, questions on the shopping list as it stands? Negative. All right, let's take a look at individual days productions. And so we're in the last half of class. In fact, as of right of this moment, we are more than halfway done with class. Day 17 tomorrow. Oh, are there greens? So there is, we do a salad day, and I don't know that there's, I think that at school that they have added greens to the shopping list. For those of you that are at home, you can pick up some kind of greens, some kind of salad greens. Get whatever you like. If you want to do iceberg lettuce, that's fine. But pick up some kind of salad green. Let's see, Robin, good morning. Robin, while you're on, can you hear me, Robin?
Yes, sir.
Are you going to pick up your food today?
Yes.
Okay, so I am not going to be there today. Stan said he's going to have the storeroom guys make boxes, so you should just be able to go up and just pick up a box that's pre-made for you. Okay.
Heard. Thank you.
All right. Yep. Now, and also one more thing for everybody, or for Robin, when I, as it gets a little bit later in the morning, I'm going to call or text Stan and find out which door you need to go to. So
All right.
Either way, probably the best way if we don't have a final answer is to just go up to the back door, because that's where people are. Chef Miguel will be there at noon anyway.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Stop sharing for a second. All right, well, let's see. Okay, so then tomorrow, pickles, two kinds of pickles in the berry jam. So I do show you how to can these just because it is it's kind of a helpful skill to have. I will say that if you mess up the canning procedure, there is a type of bacteria that can grow in an anaerobic environment. Does anybody remember this from? Does anybody remember this from ServSafe?
Botulism.
Botulism is the one. The thing about botulism is that it can make you stop breathing. I mean, that's sort of its key thing, right? It attacks the nervous system in such a way that it stops you from breathing. So that being said, you don't mess around with canning. You make sure that it's exactly perfect when you do it, and that everything gets completely, what's the word I'm looking for? Everything's rendered safe, right? So I'll show it to you. I still put my stuff in the refrigerator after I can it, just because I want that extra added layer of safety. I mean, people learned how to can before there was refrigeration. It's why we can stuff, right? Because it was a way to help preserve things in the absence of refrigeration. Well, it'll also preserve things a lot longer than refrigeration will as well, right? I just tossed some berries out of the refrigerator this morning because although they were refrigerated, they didn't stay good forever. So my point being, I'll show you how to can. I still want you to be careful. I want you to be mindful that if there's any possibility that botulism got in there, that it can be extremely dangerous, life-threatening. So all of that warning aside, it's a cool thing to do to just, to get the jars nice and tight. And then as they cool, the little top sucks down and makes a little popping sound, and you know that your stuff is working. And especially if you're a gardener and you have a bunch of jalapenos in the summertime and you can't eat them all, you can pickle some or jar some or can some for later in the year. So 2 pickles, we're going to do a garlic and dill and a bread and butter, and then the berry jam, we will do, so that's a jarring or canning thing. That's not a pickling thing. What's the difference between pickling and jam?
Pickling, you're using like an acidic saline
Yep.
solution. So
Yes.
it's gonna, I think, be easier to can, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's probably safer, right? Because not only do you have the level of safety of getting everything hot and keeping everything clean, and then additionally processing it in the can and making, trying to kill all that bacteria. So not only do you have that level, but you also have a salty and acidic environment. So, you might get tired. I don't know if I could eat just pickles all the time. But because you could get pretty tired of it. But in terms of safety, they definitely have that going. Then the berry jam has got, well, let's look at the recipes first while we're doing it. Garlic and dill pickles. So we're obviously not going to make 3 pounds of this stuff. If you've got a whole a whole pickle, I'm sorry, a whole cucumber, whole English cucumber, that should be enough to do a couple of small jars or one medium-sized jar of the dill pickles, and then a small container of the bread and butter. Oh, and by the way, if I wasn't clear on this, I'm going to show you how to do the mason jar, ball jar, pickling thing. And you can do that. You can can along with me, but you can also make pickles in a piece of Tupperware or in a glass bowl or what have you. They just won't be preserved as long. Does that make sense? Pickling cucumbers, the vinegar, salt. You don't need pickling salt. You can use whatever salt. Pickling salt is nice because it theoretically, at least, it dissolves a little faster. Garlic cloves, cracked black peppercorn, dill seed, red chili flake. It doesn't have to be filtered water. It can be regular water. So the dill seed is the main flavor here. Everything else, this is 8 each. There's no need for that. That's for 3 pounds of cucumbers, right? Maybe you need a couple of them, and that's it. Question, Robin?
Yeah, kind of back on what we talked about.
All right, hold on just a second. Your microphone's covered.
Sorry,
or
I think I
something?
was covering it.
Uh-huh.
Are there any visual indicators of botulism, or is it? Okay.
Yes. It's the expanded top, right? So, and they'll
Okay.
create some, so the poofy cans, right? That's the sort of classic when you're talking about tin cans not jarring, you get that bulged can. That's a definitely throw it in the garbage kind of. You don't even want to open it up, so because if critters get at it, they're going to have problems too, right? Just throw a bulging can in the trash and forget about it. Same thing with the top of the mason jar, right? If it's bulging, and to my knowledge, I've not ever experienced this, and maybe I'm overprotective, but I care for all my students, and if there's one thing that I would like to do, it's like at least keep you alive throughout the process, right? And lots of people that I know have gone out there and canned some stuff, and they're all safe, but I just want you to know that it's a real risk. So you can't mess around with it. All right, that's the garlic and dill. Pardon me. The bread and butter, another one that's got a lot of little ingredients in there. So I would say key flavors here, probably the celery seed. Or the mustard seed. If you wanted to get one or the other, it doesn't matter so much. The turmeric's nice because it does give you that little bit of yellow flavor or yellow color, but you could skip it if you needed to, if you didn't have it. We do use turmeric again, though, when we make pimento cheese for sandwiches next week. Next week is kind of fun because of sandwiches. So cucumbers, the onion. Again, you don't need canning salt. You can just use salt, a little sugar, mustard, turmeric, celery, ginger, peppercorn, and vinegar. And it could be any vinegar. You could use one type of vinegar for all this. You don't even have to get apple cider necessarily. You could just get white vinegar. It's cheap and it's sour. It makes a great flavor. I would recommend trying to get the highest grain value you could get. There's a little indication on there of how sour it is. Look at the acidity amount. And more higher acidity means that you're getting more vinegar and less water. And then the berry jam. So there is pectin in this. This is for 188 grams. So 250 grams, that is about 8 ounces of, half a pound of berries. You don't necessarily have to make that much, but 4 ounces would work. But it would be a very small amount. It would be tiny. Even 8 ounces seems tiny because most of the water evaporates. Getting that pectin weight out just right and not having it too runny or too, when it's too thick, it acts very strangely. It's like spreading Play-Doh on your bread. And I know this because I've done it, right?
Is the pectin something that's going to be in our box, or are we?
Yeah, it'll be in
so-
your box. For those of you guys that are buying it at home, it's usually found in the mason jar section of a grocery store. Like I was there at HEB the other day, and where they sell mason jars, there's usually different brands and types of pectin. There's liquid and dry. I have some liquid pectin and I've used it. It seems to work okay. I prefer the dry just because I have a lot more experience with it. But if there's only one kind, get it, because it does make a difference. Where's pectin found in high quantities in a regular piece of fruit? Any idea?
Like which type of fruit?
Yeah, what type of fruit?
Is it apples?
Apples is exactly right. You're killing it. Yes.
Yeah,
apples.
I played with pectin once. I jarred some jalapeno jelly. I actually still have a can. That's kind of why I asked about the botulism, because I have a can that's like 2.5 years old and it looks good.
Okay. I'm not going to tell you to eat it. All right. Okay, that brings us through tomorrow. It's kind of a fun day. All right, then breakfast sausage and salmon, curing salmon on Wednesday. Kind of a light day. This is another day where you definitely have some time to do some makeup if you need it. When we're on campus, we would, take pieces of pork and grind it. We don't do that just because, we're not going to expect students to buy a grinding attachment for a KitchenAid that they may not even have. So we start with a ground meat. So we have, like when you look at the breakfast sausage recipe here that I'm sharing with you guys, we have pork butt. You guys are going to use the ground pork, so you don't need to grind. Salt, sage, this is the one flavor that I think you really need. Garlic, red chili flake, fennel seeds. We're not going to put fennel seed in breakfast sausage. I'm not sure why it's in there. It just makes it taste like Italian sausage. It's weird. And this one says ground white pepper. Absolutely, you can use black pepper in breakfast sausage. And does this one, I like to put a little sugar in my breakfast sausage. Otherwise, it's really hard for it to brown. like very difficult for it to brown. You get kind of this kind of golden, like pork roast color to it, which is not enough for me. All right, questions on the breakfast sausage?
No, chef.
The Italian, again, this is going to say pork butt and fat back. You know, it's really fine just to use the, the ground pork. So kosher salt, granulated sugar, there's some sugar. Fennel seed, we do need it this time. Coriander is nice. We toast the coriander and fennel together and then grind it. And you can use a spice grinder or you can just run a knife through it. That works just fine. Paprika, cayenne, oregano. This is the one that's kind of spicy, yeah. Oregano and basil. This calls for fresh, not necessary. You can absolutely use dry herbs in here. Red chili flakes, black pepper, red wine vinegar. So must-haves for this for me are the fennel seed. Everything else is, you know, you need, well, salt is a must-have too. But salt, black pepper, maybe granulated garlic, fennel seed, you can make it taste like Italian sausage. Maybe arguably, again, something, if you're going to do a spicy version, you need some kind of either cayenne or red chili flake, something like that. And then the salmon cure for gravlax. Now, this one, it's nice to have at least a whole lemon for this, just because of the lemon zest. And then we need sugar and salt. So the ratio here, if you look, is 2 parts sugar. I'm sorry, 2 parts salt to 1 part sugar, and then a bunch of cracked pepper, some dill. It doesn't have to be fresh dill. It can be dried dill. I think that's what it says on the shopping list. So this one we're going to use on Friday. And I found that that's usually enough time for this. I will say that you can get usable ingredients with just about anything, but if you do use a better piece of fish, you get a better result. So we oftentimes have frozen fish, and it's fine to learn on that. I'm just saying, when you go on in your career, if you get just sort of a baseline nice piece of farmed Atlantic salmon that looks beautiful, that'll give you a better result than a piece of previously frozen fish. Again, totally works, edible, no problem to use frozen fish, but if you can, get the good stuff. As my friend Brian Barnacle says, live a little, a lot. All right, here's the pasta salad stuff, or the salad stuff for Thursday. We do not do the cured egg yolk. I'm not sure why it's on here. There's no link. There's no indication. We make some ricotta and we make a baguette. So the next day we can use that to do a couple of hors d'oeuvres. So orzo pasta salad, that can be any pasta salad. You can use just like I said earlier, you can use elbow macaroni or broken up pieces of spaghetti. This calls for a vinaigrette and a farm-to-table vegetable. That's where you see those, you know, the tomato and the red bell pepper and the red onion. You really need like a tablespoon of each of those to make this salad. So So it's basically just a cooked pasta with a vinaigrette, and then you put whatever whatever vegetables you have on hand into it. So I wouldn't necessarily, for those of you guys that are picking up a box at school, you'll get some different vegetables. But for those of you guys that are buying at home, I would use what you have, right? If you get some leftover broccoli or Brussels sprouts or something, you can just slice that up nicely or cut it up nicely and fold it into your salad, and that works just fine. And then the bound chicken salad, again, whatever chicken pieces you have, it can be white meat or dark meat. This one says a whole cooked, and it says cooked, right? So you can simmer this, or you can simmer it, or you can roast it or grill it. It doesn't really matter as long as it's cooked. And then you just make a little mayo mustard thing. So this does not call for, oh, this is where that tarragon parsley scallion thing comes in. You don't need a whole bunch of tarragon to make this salad. It's nice, it's a nice flavor, but if you're buying it from home, you can just do it with whatever herbs you have, or the scallion ends, the green parts. That's a nice touch. This calls for mayonnaise, and I don't believe your shopping list has mayonnaise on it. So you either can use some that you have, or you can make a little mayonnaise with the egg and the oil that you have. And then the ricotta, this does call for a gallon, if I recall correctly, which is maybe where that comes from. Half a gallon should be plenty. But gallon of just the milk and the vinegar. This is making cheese. And it's fun. I've taken this before and put it on pizzas that I made. It's good.
It's a lot simpler than I thought the recipe would be. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
I
some
mean,
technical stuff, but ingredient wise,
ingredients really just milk, and I mean, I put some salt in there too, just because you're going to want that to eat it. But yeah, basically just milk and milk and vinegar. And if you're making another, it's just some way to coagulate the protein so it separates into curds and whey. Yeah, and then we're gonna make a baguette dough. Or I just go ahead and make the whole baguette that day. That day's kind of busy-ish. Thursday. And then Friday. Make a little aioli. This is the caper aioli. The blinis, and this is one that I think for those of you guys buying food at home, you need buckwheat for this day, and it's not on the shopping list. It is on the list at school. We get it at school, but there hasn't been an update to that on the shopping list. I think maybe, let's see. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna buckwheat flour. Put that in the chat. Just, a small amount, as small as you can get. I think, an 8-ounce package will give you way more than you need. 4 ounces if they have it, okay? But for those of you guys buying your own groceries, you need buckwheat flour for the blinis, okay? caper aioli is basically just a mayonnaise with garlic and capers. Capers are small pickled flower buds, deviled eggs. And this is what that bacon is for, right? So, I mean, you could literally get away with one strip of bacon, I think, to make the deviled eggs, as long as you don't snack on it. Look at the caper aioli real quick. Here it is in here. And this is where you find the pimento cheese recipe, by the way. Same thing. We are not making the rest of this. It links to the tea sandwiches. We're going to make a tea sandwich next week. For tomorrow, all we're going to do, excuse me, is the caper aioli. It's got the egg yolk, garlic, lemon juice, blended olive oil, et cetera, et cetera. Basically, you're making mayonnaise. Deviled eggs. The hardest thing about this is getting the eggs peeled without breaking them up. Eggs, Dijon, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Mayonnaise again. So those of you guys at home, it might be worth it to get a small jar of mayonnaise just to have it on hand. I think those of us at school are going to need to make ours unless you have some at home. And then blini is the little, just basically a little pancake with buckwheat flour. In the absence of buckwheat flour, if you just absolutely can't find it, you could substitute a rye flour or cornmeal or something. Just make sure it's a nice fine grind. All right. Let's take a little break. I'm going to go see what's going on in the house. It is 6:56. Let's take a 14-minute break. Come back at 10 after 7, please. All right.
Heard, Chef.
Heard.
Heard that, yeah, that's true. What was it, work time? All right. You guys with me? Sure.
Here, chef.
All right. Anybody come on? Okay, so that takes us through the week. The end of the week is a little bit more stuff to do than the beginning. So there's only 5 of you guys, but I do want to do individual breakout sessions and stuff. And look at where you're at. Don't panic. We're just talking. All right, here come the breakout rooms. Join up. Hey, Cameron, I see you joined. Cameron, you there?
Hello?
Oh, there you are. Hey, I was just about to try and call you. Let me put you into a breakout room, okay?
I can't hear you, sir. I'm sorry. Hold up one sec. Go ahead.
I'm gonna put you into a breakout room.
Okay, sorry. I guess I had my computer still on mute from when we were in class. 'Cause we use Dravens for audio.